incredible conversation the last 2 days. About 24 months ago, I started asking myself, what could I do to help people who may have a health concern? I'm not a healer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I don't have any modality I practice, but I wanted to do something to help people who may be dealing with an issue. And about 30 days after I started asking that, I woke up one morning and it just hit me, this idea. And
Hear how that happens? Something he wanted, wasn't really looking for it, woke up and the answer was there. An answer to a previously asked question, a still active question, but not a question that you were asking in that moment.
Correct.
So you're having a step 3 moment when the answer came.
Correct. And I know myself well enough to know that usually what had happened in the past is for 30 to 60 days, I'd be really hot about some idea, and then it would start to wane, and then it would go away.
Because you shoot it in the foot with contradictory thought.
Correct. Well, I didn't evidently shoot this one in the foot, and it has just taken off. And in less than 2 years, we're followed in all 50 states and in 38 foreign countries, and we're getting ready to announce expansion into Charlotte. And it amazes me in the fact that and this would sound weird except for any group except for this group, it's almost as though I feel like I have given birth to a child that at first started, crawling and I could keep up with it. And now it's like it's an adolescent and it's running down the street and I'm going, wait for dad, and it's the people that are coming into the vortex, the people that are just coming out of the woodwork to support the entire thing are just coming from no effort on my part. Somebody asked me in an interview the other day, they said, what is the hardest thing about being a business owner? And I said, keeping people enrolled in the vision before the manifestation. And that has been the hardest thing, but this business has just taken off, and I feel as though Bill is standing back here, me, is standing back here, and I watch it. You had made a comment a couple interactions before about making decisions from the high-flying disc, and I want to make sure that I understand that, because this thing is spinning. It's like a hurricane.
Well, there's a lot of leverage in that energy, and so what you're saying to us is, I've tapped into this energy and got more out of it than I have ever gotten out of anything before.
Correct.
And I'm sort of flabbergasted at the power of it, and what do I do now?
Exactly.
And we say, don't get too carried away with your flabbergasting.
Okay.
Because that will begin to slow it down in time. In other words, that's the shooting yourself in the foot that we were talking about. The whole key to happy, deliberate creation is launching a desire and getting up to speed with it and staying up to speed with it as it continues to go. You see, in the past, you've been with us, you've been listening to us for a while, so this will make perfect sense to you. We've described it this way. Contrast, know what I don't want, causes me to know what I do want. So I'm launching these rockets. I'm launching rockets that I'm not staying up to speed with usually. And the more I launch a rocket that I'm not up to speed with, the more the counterbalance sort of causes me to launch another rocket that I'm not up to speed with, until there is the potential of the gap getting wider and wider. So I'm asking in a stronger way than I'm allowing. Then we've been saying, when you focus to get up to speed with what you've been asking for, now things click into place vibrationally, and now there is a manifestation. You not only receive the manifestation of what you've been asking for, but another set of contrasting experiences that causes you to launch more rockets. So that's the way it has been for most, and that's the way we've been relating the creation story. Now, we've come across step 4. Now, we're creating from the high-flying disc. So that story has changed in this way. Now, instead of there's a gap that I'm catching up with, and then a manifestation, and then more contrast, and then a gap that I'm catching up with, now instead this story goes like this. I have some desires, but I put them on hold, and I stopped focusing upon them, which allowed me to completely close the gap. And because I closed the gap while I wasn't watching, things that I want began flowing in. And they're flowing in at such a pace that it's hard for me to find the association between even my own desire. What we're saying to you is, you have put so much into your vortex, you've almost lost, and it's all right, the relationship between those desires and what's happening. But the source within you remembers everything that you've been asking for. And this is really the way you came into this physical life to begin with. You came in knowing that it would be good, but with no details on your mind about how it was going to be good, right. You see. One of the things that we've noticed about our physical friends, as we've been talking about deliberate creation through all of this time, is that the piece that is sort of bothersome to most of you is in deliberate creation, in finally discovering that you are the creator of your own reality. There is this sort of disappointment that there's not someone else that's creating it that's going to surprise me with something wonderful. In the early days, you say to us things like, I want my life to be better than it is. We're talking about stepping way back, even pre-introduction to us. I want my life to be better than it is. So then we say to you, you create your own reality. And you say, I create my own reality. And then you say, I create my own reality, as it sort of settles in what that means. But then there is a sort of feeling that it comes over most of you somewhere along there where, oh, so it is completely my job. There's not someone outside of me who is telling me what to do like my parents did or like my teachers did, who is holding me as the object of attention and sort of nurturing me along. You get this sort of lonely feeling like you're in it alone, and who am I showing off for if there's not someone who's going to give me rewards? You recognize that sort of feeling? Someone said, I miss what I thought God was. I sort of liked there being someone that I was striving to standards for. And there's something sort of uncomfortable about me being the one who sets the standards. And now what you are on the verge of discovering, many of you, and we know you're going to relish it as it settles in more, is that understanding it as you are, you have the best of all worlds, because you figured out how to stabilize in the knowledge of the laws, how to stabilize in the application of the vibration, and yet you still get that incredible element of surprise, because the timing of events, the culminating events, the combination of events, the vastness of events is still one of those adventurous feelings of discovery that you've been enjoying so much through your life when you were sort of in the darkness, not really knowing. Yeah. It's just the best of all of it. You get to create your own reality, but it's full of surprise, and it's full of expansion, and it's full of more than you ever even thought you could wrap your conscious mind around, because you've been putting the elements of your creation in your vortex so incrementally, one at a time, and many of them were there as the trajectory that you were born into. And now, as you are stable in your world and discovering your own personal balance, and doing it systematically enough that you're allowing the momentum to really build, what you're discovering is the power of that momentum. A power that you have not known before. Correct. That even as we know it, we find it close to indescribable to you. You sort of have to live it to get it.
Yeah. I've never had anything in my life that has this kind of momentum.
Well, everything in your life should have it.
You're right. And it's a
rush. In other words, that's just the way that it is. When you tap in to the energy that creates worlds and flow it in an unfettered way, in an unchallenged way, toward things that matter to you, and you have the wisdom to stay out of the way, to not be checking in every moment to make sure you're worthy enough, or checking in every moment to make sure that other people understand it enough. In other words, you just tap into it and flow it toward things that are important to you. You can't go wrong, because first of all, you can't tap into the energy unless you are in vibrational alignment with all of that goodness, you see. So it can't be misused. You get to the place where you just trust in your well-being. And then you become one of those masters of creation that most of the world stands back in amazement at what you're creating. They just don't get how it can happen that way with such ease. But it's just the way it is supposed to be. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. Thank you.